Our research investigated the efficacy of personalized assessment in the classroom. This is a product of the current COVID-19 pandemic. It has become apparent that online learning is an obstacle for many students today. Considering this, within our 8Y43 class, we have decided to tackle the impact of online learning and investigate areas to improve. As current online learners, we can relate to the obstacles that online, both asynchronous and synchronous, can impede. Through the limitations of technology, the struggles of learning remotely, and reaching each student's learning style without teaching face-to-face, it is evident that achieving comprehension of curriculum expectations can be a tremendous barrier. We as educators must learn to tackle these barriers for the benefit of all. Taking this into consideration, our problem statement and research question asks the teacher how they can enhance students' understanding of curriculum expectations during online learning.
All academic journals investigated hold a key element revolving around online learning. Considering the current climate due to COVID-19, online school has now turned to both privilege and necessity for some. All 6 academic titles peruse the benefits and possible positive implementations that can be integrated to ensure learning is not only obtained, but enjoyable for all. Allenby's study investigates the continuous improvement and updating required within the ever-evolving online learning environment. Taking this into consideration, the study outlines 3 prominent improvements required on the student, teacher, and institutional levels. Popova, Angelina et al. Study also further delves into the world of online learning and hopes to improve the quality of learning online through a teacher and student lens. Through the integration of podcasts with lectures, the improvement of students' comprehension obtained through a quantitative form of test score differentiation and student feedback, the conversation of lecture content to podcast-aided students who resided within a more auditory learning preference. Branching off on learning preferences, Ozdemir's 2016 study prevents the efficacy of pairing one's learning style with a catered form of learning and instruction. Utilizing the results of Ozdemir's study with the incorporation of varying forms and ways of elevating online learning, it is clear that there is always room for improvement when it comes to online learning for each student.
All of the academic journals researched were related to online learning. Tay et al. Researched how technology in the educational field influences students' learning in English, math, and science. The researchers found that blogs, educational games, and communication applications were predominantly used among the students. Similar, Chu et al. Uses synchronous online learning in order to research students' contributions to an online learning activity of creating a mind map for food chains in science. Additionally, Collmore et al. Recorded a study using online peer assessment. The study found that students had an overall positive attitude about online learning as well as peer assessment. Overall, these 3 studies form a parallel of using online learning within the classroom. These studies use technology as a form of assessment in order to relate to 21st century learning. Students are able to collaborate and use communication skills online, which improve their learning skills and work habits throughout the term.
At the beginning of the school year, we will administer a self-survey for students to explain their preferred types of assessment with options and examples to explore. These students will then be separated into cohorts based on their learning style for assessment. The teacher will then have weekly check-ins on Google Forms or class Zoom calls as a class and independent student-teacher meetings each month to grasp their preferred type of assessment and, if not, alter the current course of action. Assessment options presented to students are open to discussion and involved kinesthetic, such as scavenger hunts, incorporated working with the family, auditory, such as podcasts, visual elements such as online posters with iPad assistants, pictures, etc., reading and writing elements such as blog posts, essays, or Word documents.
Considering our findings, the specific research question we pose is, how can we enhance students' understanding of curriculum expectations within language arts by assigning different assessments based on each student's individual learning style during online learning? This study revolves around the students, which is the current class dynamic, the student guardians, the previous homeroom teacher or teachers of the students, the current research, which is the homeroom teacher, as well as the principal to ensure the study is ethical and approved. The data will be collected through submitted questionnaires, student-differentiated assessments such as blogs, podcasts, essays, visuals, etc., feedback, and recorded conversations via email, over the phone, or in person. The setting of this data will reside on school grounds. Conversations about said study will not be permitted outside of the classroom, aside from conversations occurring at students' places of residence.
The ethical considerations of the study are as follows. Confidentiality will be maintained as the information will be stored in safe and under lock and key. This is to ensure the data collected from students and parents and guardians stay confidential between the researcher and themselves. Parental and student consent forms will be sent home and obtained before the study is conducted. These forms will be stored in each student's individual file. These participants are also able to drop out of the study at any time without being penalized. Each student will be given an alias name to respect their privacy.
Using the triangulation process, the previous teachings and studies of past educators will be heavily utilized for our data sources. Pairing this knowledge with the current class dynamic in question, the effective teaching techniques will be in place. Alongside this, the second data source of student, class, parent feedback will be utilized to implement necessary changes to online teaching. This can be in regards to how assessment is given, the model of class content, and the accessibility of the content. These two data sources will be effectively implemented in hopes to improve the quality of content facilitated, as well as overall comprehension for all types of learners.
During the first week of school, the student questionnaire will be completed prior to assessment in order to assure it's personalized to the student's learning style. If the implemented form is not effective for the student, revisions will take place. This will be achieved through the drop-in sessions with student and monthly chats with the parents. This constant triangulation of data will help present a validity of our student and efficacy of hypothesis. This information will be revised if necessary. Prior to the first day of school, OSR data and making notes to appropriately accommodate future lessons will be collected and obtained. Alongside this, consent forms will be sent out during the first week of school. Any guardians, students who do not wish to participate will be honored. Their assessments will be still personalized, however. Parental and student check-ins will not occur unless requested. Alongside this, student data will not be recorded outside of obligatory records. The final form of action will be a continuous collection of anecdotal notes, student feedback, guardian feedback of assessment to gauge comprehension.
Using the information gathered through both anecdotal notes and teacher journals, the consistent reformation of assessment models, UDL, will be revised and improved upon if required through feedback of student surveys. Utilizing bar graphs and coding of both guardian meeting minutes and student surveys, we will investigate the frequency of data collected. This collection will be analyzed in hopes to depict patterns and themes throughout the collection of student assessments, which will be tracked through anecdotal notes. Through analyzing this data, we are able to draw conclusions and observe implications of this study.
In conclusion, this action research study will support our knowledge of teaching through active reflection on the differing ways students learn. Students may have trouble with online learning. As a result, it is the duty as an educator to assist the students to comprehend the curriculum expectations in the best form possible. It is critical to understand that each student's learning needs differ. As a result, their accommodations or modifications for assessment will vary. Product of this realization, this study influences our teaching practice, for it outlines the necessity of UDL for all lessons to effectively assist students to the highest degree of comprehension. Possible implications of this study could be sample size, outliers of data such as students who do not fit into one way of learning, the social and cultural variables such as access to technology and parent-guardian influence, and attendance of students involved in the study.